Many students earning a degree in child development go on to teach children, and you can teach children of varying different ages with a degree in child development. So you can work with very young children. You can be an infant toddler teacher, which is working with children age 0 to 3. You can become a preschool teacher, which is working with children age 3 to 5. You can become a transitional kindergarten or kindergarten teacher, and this is working with children who are older age 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds. You can work as an elementary school teacher, teaching children in 1st through 5th or 6th grade, depending on how high the age group of the children goes at the particular elementary school you're at. You can become a middle school teacher working with children in 6th through 8th grade, or you can become a high school teacher working with children 9th through 12th grade. So I've included some videos on this slide. They are kind of giving you little snippets of what it might be like to teach children of those various ages, what the classroom looks like, what kinds of activities you would be doing with the children. So you can take a look at those. For elementary school, it's an article rather than a video, but it gives you, again, the same kind of overview information about what it might look like to be an elementary school teacher. I generally recommend to students, if you're interested in doing infant, toddler, preschool, or TK kindergarten, that you choose the early childhood development concentration. And if you are interested in older children in elementary school, or middle school or high school, that you choose the child and adolescent development degree. Now you notice that elementary school, 1st through 5th or 6th grade, is kind of going between those two. So I would say that if you're interested in the primary grade, so 1st through 3rd, that you might want to do early childhood development, and if you're interested in 4, 5, or 6, that you stick with the child and adolescent development concentration. But any of these age groups are open to children or to folks who want to teach children if you are getting your degree in child development, and I'll show you more about each one in the upcoming slides. Let's dig into teaching infants and toddlers and preschoolers a little bit more. So as I noted in the previous slide, I would recommend that if you're interested in teaching children of this age group, so this would be age 0 until age 5, roughly, I would suggest that you pursue the early childhood development concentration. This is going to be the best fit, and you'll see at the end of this presentation, it gives you the best offerings of courses designed to prepare you to teach this age group of children. So teaching children of these ages can be done in a variety of settings. So you can work as a nanny, which I will briefly mention at the end, but generally folks who are doing this kind of work are in either a family daycare home or they're in a center-based kind of situation. So if you're in a family daycare home, you might be working for somebody else in their family daycare home, or you may be running your own family daycare home. And so this would be childcare that is in someone's house. Oftentimes it's in your own house because you are both the teacher and the director of this facility. You usually have children who are of multi-age groups, so they can range from very tiny children until preschoolers or even school-age children who might come before and after school. Or you can work in a center-based program where it is in a building outside of a home. It is licensed by the state of California to be a child care center. There's typically a director, there are teachers in each classroom and assistant teachers to help out those teachers. So as a person who is earning a degree in child development, generally you will be the teacher who runs the classroom. You probably need to get some experience and practice first and be the helper teacher, but then you should move into being the teacher of record on your own in that facility. You may even be the director, which we'll also talk about a little bit more at the end. But I'm going to show you on the next slide why you would be qualified to be a head teacher if you are working in a center-based program for children of this age. In the state of California, if you want to work with very young children, so if you want to teach infants, toddlers, and preschoolers, you will need something called a child development permit. So if you are working in private school or in a family daycare home, there may not be a requirement for you to get this permit, but if you are working in a center-based program, particularly one that receives state or federal funding, they will expect you to have this permit in hand when you start or to get it shortly thereafter. The good news is that with a degree in child development, you qualify automatically to receive either one or another of these permits. You will have to apply, so you'll need to go to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, to their website, which I will show you in a couple of other slides, to actually apply and get this permit in hand. But again, the good news is if you get your child development degree and you choose the early childhood development concentration, you will automatically be eligible to apply for one of these permits and to receive it. So many people who are getting this permit are using a combination of coursework, you can see under option 1, or combined with experience, also part of option 1 to receive this permit. So option 1 is using a combination of coursework and experience. If you look towards the middle of the chart on this slide, you'll see that there's some highlights under that chart, the one that says alternative qualifications. So alternative qualifications are for folks who have degrees rather than just picking up some courses here and there and combining it with some job experience. So with a bachelor's degree in, and it doesn't even have to be in child development or early childhood education, but definitely with your bachelor's degree in child development and with 12 units of early childhood child development, which you are definitely earning in getting your degree, along with 3 units of supervised field experience, which is also built into your child development degree, you'll qualify to be a site supervisor as soon as you graduate and have your BA. So as a site supervisor, you can be a head teacher in a classroom, but you can also be a director of a single site center. So if you're working at a center and it only has one facility, so only one building, it doesn't have multiple buildings spread around the city, you are able to be the director of that facility. So a lot of times folks start out while they're getting their bachelor's degrees and they work as assistant teachers. And then once they have their degree, they work their way up to being a master teacher, and then they work their way up to being a site supervisor or a director. If you're interested in working with children of this age, I would encourage you to go over to the Infant Toddler Lab School or the Children's Center on campus. The Children's Center is a preschool. The Infant Toddler Lab School is for infants and toddlers. And you can either work as a sub or as an assistant teacher while you're earning your degree and get practice in a high quality, developmentally appropriate facility so that if this is something you want to do when you graduate, you are fully prepared. So another thing that you can do is you can get a master's degree in child development. And if you look on this slide, you can see under option 4, down at the bottom, it talks about having a master's degree in child development. We do offer a master's degree in our department, so when you're done with your bachelor's, this is something you might be interested in pursuing. One of your weeks in this course towards the end of the semester is going to be about grad school tips and prep, so that might help you to think about the master's in child development. But if you do decide to pursue that degree, then you would qualify at the program director level for this permit, which allows you to be a director of a multi-site program. So let's say there's a YMCA in town, they have multiple facilities around town. you can be the big director in charge of all of the facilities if you have that program director permit. So this is how you get your foot in the door. This is how you can become a teacher of either infants, toddlers, or preschoolers. We're going to talk about teaching preschool, transitional kindergarten, and grades 1 through 3. Now, I know that we talked about teaching preschool on the previous slide, but that type of preschool teaching would be in a church, a child care center, a family daycare home. The kind of preschool teaching we're talking about on this slide would be in the K through 12 school system, so in public school, which is why, as we're going to talk about in the next slide, it requires a credential instead of a child development permit. So the information on this slide and the next slide is for people who are interested in teaching preschool, transitional kindergarten, or grades 1 through 3 in the K through 12 or the public school setting where a credential is needed. So if you are interested in pursuing this credential and teaching these grades in a public school system, your best bet is to do the early childhood development concentration of our major. That's the subject matter requirement for this credential, so that when you finish your bachelor's degree, you can go straight into this credential program without having to take exams because you've already completed the subject matter coursework required for this particular credential. So this is a new credential. We had one a long time ago in the state and they got rid of it and now they're bringing it back. So it is offered at some universities, but it is not quite offered at Cal State San Bernardino yet. The College of Education is planning to offer this credential, but there's a lot of hoops that need to be jumped through with the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing and the curriculum committees here on campus. So you may be able to find this credential at another university right now, and in the future you will definitely be able to find it at ours as well. As noted on the previous slide, this is a new credential. It's officially called the PK through 3 Early Childhood Educator Specialist Credential. It is meant for people who want to teach PK, TK, kindergarten, grades 1, 2, and 3 at the public school system in the K through 12 system. So you can learn more about this credential if you click on the link included on this slide. That is from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. It is sort of the official word on what this credential is and what it involves. And then just a reminder that this credential will be offered at Cal State San Bernardino. I would imagine it would probably start fall of 2026. But there are other institutions that may be farther along in the process and may already be offering this credential so that you can take advantage of it as soon as you graduate. As noted before, another opportunity is to teach children who range in age from kindergarten through grade 6. So if you're interested in teaching children who are either in kindergarten, in 1st through 5th or 6th grade, you're going to need something called a multiple subjects teaching credential, which I'm going to show you on the next slide. So a multiple subjects teaching credential is also through the state of California. Unlike the child development permit that you earn as soon as you have completed your bachelor's, or if you're looking for that next higher permit level, you would need to have your master's degree. A teaching credential requires you to do a 5th year program after you've finished your bachelor's degree. So you do your bachelor's degree, you get your bachelor's in child development, either in early childhood development or child and adolescent development, and then you're going to do a 5th year credential program. Now, almost all universities in the state of California offer credential programs, but you are certainly welcome to stay here at home at Cal State San Bernardino. We offer credential programs here through the College of Education, and that's what I'm going to show you on the next slide, their website, so that you can see more about that. But it is a multiple subject teaching credential, and it is based on a 5th year post-baccalaureate program that includes student teaching. So what I do think is important to mention here is that if you are interested in getting this multiple subjects teaching credential, you need to think carefully about which concentration you choose while you're earning your bachelor's degree. Now, ultimately, you can go on and teach any age with either one of the concentrations, but if you know that you're leaning towards certain ages, it might be a good idea to sort of lock in your concentration now. So if you want to teach children in kindergarten, first, second, or third grade, I would recommend doing the early childhood development concentration because it's going to give you coursework that is more focused on younger children. It's going to be a better fit. It's going to provide you with better preparation. The other thing that will be helpful if you choose the early childhood development concentration is that it will set you up well in case you want to teach transitional kindergarten. So transitional kindergarten is a new grade that was developed by the state of California 5 to 10 years ago, and it focuses on children who are a little bit old for preschool but haven't quite reached kindergarten age. So it's kind of a preschool kindergarten crossover, a little bit more like preschool than it is kindergarten, but it requires certain competencies to be able to be qualified to teach in transitional kindergarten. If you have your early childhood development degree, you qualify for those child development permits that I spoke of earlier. A child development permit is one way that you can enter into teaching transitional kindergarten and also prepares you well again for those little kids in elementary school. If you are if you are interested in older children, so maybe you're interested in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, I would recommend the child and adolescent development degree because that's going to be a better fit for the age group of children that you're interested in teaching. I will let you know, though, that if you ever decided that you wanted to drop down and teach transitional kindergarten, which again is a grade in elementary school, you would need to do some additional coursework potentially. So if you have a multiple subjects teaching credential and you don't have early childhood courses, you need to have 24 units of early childhood courses to go with your multiple subjects teaching credential to be able to work with those very young children, to be able to work with those transitional kindergarten children. So chances are with a degree in child development, even if it is a child and adolescent concentration, you will have some of that coursework you need, but if you decide to drop down to TK, you may need to pick up some additional coursework. So that's kind of most of what you need to know, but I am going to show you on the next slide some information about the multiple subject credential program at CSUSB. As I noted on the previous slide, if you're interested in teaching elementary school age children or children in grades K through 6, you're going to need a multiple subjects teaching credential. So later in this presentation, as I mentioned before, I will show you the websites for applying for one of these credentials through the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. But what's important to know on this slide is when you finish your bachelor's degree, you're going to apply for a post-baccalaureate teaching credential program. Again, this can be done at various universities throughout the state, but we do have credential programs here at Cal State. They're in the College of Education. So you can see here, this is the web link. There's lots of important information here. There's information sessions you need to go to. It shows you prerequisites that are necessary to earn a multiple subjects teaching credential. So a good idea to take a look at these things, maybe when you're a junior or a senior in your child development baccalaureate program. So while you're earning your BA, so that you're ready to apply to a teaching credential program before you graduate so that you can start this right away if that's something that you're interested in doing. So again, this is the website for the multiple subjects teaching credential program here at Cal State San Bernardino. If you're interested in going to a different university, you would just need to go to that university's website and look for information on the multiple subject teaching credential, and you will find what you're looking for. If you're interested in teaching older children, so if you're interested in teaching middle school, which depending on how the middle school is structured, it could be 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, it might be 7, 8, it may be 7, 8, 9, also in teaching high school, so typically that's grades 9 to 12, but it could be grades 10 to 12. But if you're interested in teaching those older kids, so pre-adolescent, adolescent age children, you're going to want to get a single subjects teaching credential, which I'm going to show you Cal State San Bernardino's single subject website on the next slide. But one of the most important things to remember is that this is still going to be a post-baccalaureate program. So unlike a child development permit that you're earning while you're getting your bachelor's degree, a teaching credential is something that you earn after your bachelor's. So you get your bachelor's degree first, then you go on to get your teaching credential. Teaching credentials are a 5th-year post-baccalaureate program that includes coursework and student teaching. So you take coursework relevant to the age children that you're interested in teaching or the subject that you want to teach, and then you also get actual classroom experience with those kids in that subject. So that's where this credential differs. So the multiple subjects credential that I was talking about before that prepares you to work with pretty much just elementary school age children is assuming that you're going to teach all subjects. So elementary school teachers and early middle school teachers teach children English and science and math and social studies. If you start getting into the older grades, 7th, 8th, high school grades, you generally teach a subject. So you are an English teacher, or you are a math teacher, or you are a social studies teacher. So if you're wanting to teach older children, rather than getting a credential that's in multiple subjects, you're going to get a credential that's in a single subject. So you need to pick a subject that you feel like you would do a particularly good job in, and you would need to get your credential in that particular topic. So this is less of a good fit for those folks who are in child development. So again, if you want to get the multiple subject credential, you want to do kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd grade, I would recommend the early childhood development concentration. If you want to do 4th, 5th, and 6th, I would recommend the child and adolescent development concentration. It does not mean that if you are in child development that you can't go on to teach older children and get a single subject credential. But just remember, you're going to have to prove your ability to teach in a single subject. So not just that you can teach children who are older, which the child and adolescent development concentration would prepare you for very well. So if you choose child and adolescent development, you're going to know all about teenagers and pre-teenagers, but you're going to have to figure out the subject matter yourself. So perhaps you want to get a minor in history, you want to get a minor in math, so whatever subject you think you're interested in teaching to complement the information that you're learning about how teens and pre-teens develop, you're going to want to make sure that you get that as well so that you're prepared for that single subject credential and you're prepared for whatever requirements are needed to apply, which I will show you the website on the next page. So as noted on the previous slide, here is the website at Cal State University San Bernardino to apply for a single subject teaching credential. So again, I would encourage you to click on this link to explore what a single subject credential entails, what you need to have prior to applying for that kind of program. I would recommend, just like I recommended with the multiple subject teaching credential, that you explore this website or a single subject teaching credential at another university when you're a junior or a senior in your BA program rather than waiting until you graduated. Because if you can pick up a minor or if there's something that you need to be doing in terms of prerequisites, then you have the opportunity to get those things taken care of before you graduate. Also not a bad idea to head over to the College of Education, make an appointment with a counselor who is counseling in the multiple subjects or single subjects teaching credentials programs. Go to one of their information sessions so that you're fully informed and have all of the information that you need before you graduate and you're ready to embark on this next learning opportunity. Completed either your bachelor's degree or you have completed one of the teaching credentials that I talked about on earlier slides. So if you've completed your bachelor's degree in early childhood development or a master's in child development, you're eligible for a child development permit. Or if you do the multiple subjects teaching credential program or the single subjects teaching credential program and you've completed those things, then you can apply for whatever permit or credential you're qualified for. So once you're ready for that step, once you've either completed your bachelor's in preparation for a child development permit, or again, maybe a master's degree, or you've completed one of those credentialing programs, then you can go to the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing website and you can submit an application. So you can see here that I've listed the web link for submitting one of these applications. Once you get into the application form, you have to set up an account, so I can't show that to you. But once you start the application, there will be drop-down menus so that you can select that you want a child development permit and which level you're applying for, or that you're applying for a multiple subject teaching credential program, or that you're applying for a single subject teaching credential program. So again, once you have met all of the obligations, either of the child development permit through your degree or through one of those credential programs, and again, you need to go to those websites related to those credential programs so you know what is needed and what the requirements are, then you can apply for one of these permits or credentials. I did want to note that there are other careers that are related to teaching that you might be interested in. So I have not put every career on here, and actually some of them you're going to learn about in upcoming sessions for this class. So if you're interested in special education, for instance, there is a module coming up that is completely devoted to special education and will tell you everything that you need to know. If you're interested in being a school counselor or a school psychologist, there's going to be a session related to those careers. So I'm just touching base briefly on careers that are related to teaching but aren't going to be in one of our upcoming sessions. So some of the ones that might be of interest to you is a lot of times there are before and after school programs for children because the school day doesn't cover everything that parents might need in terms of childcare. A lot of times this might be contracted out through the YMCA at a school site, but that might be something that's interesting to you. Sometimes people work as camp counselors. You can make an entire career out of working for camps, particularly busy during the summer. Often children, particularly once they get to school age, receive some sort of tutoring. It may be just kind of general multiple subjects kinds of things, or it may be a specific subject when they get older. It could even be for college age students. You might be interested in being an administrator. So if you want to be a child care director, you can get either a site supervisor permit, which you qualify for with your bachelor's degree, or if you want to do a multi-site directorial position, you would need the program director permit. So you can either get your master's degree or you can get a combination of additional courses and experience to be able to qualify for that. If you want to be a principal in an elementary school, a middle school, or a high school, you're going to need to get an administrative credential, and that would be through, again, those colleges of education at various universities, including Cal State San Bernardino. Perhaps you're interested in being a PE teacher or a coach. I would recommend looking into a kinesiology minor or looking into a single subjects program or credential that is focusing on that aspect of teaching children. Sometimes folks work as nannies, so all kinds of different things that you can do related to teaching. Now, if you prefer to teach adults, you might be interested in being a university instructor, and you're going to have an upcoming session on that as well. So lots of careers related to teaching, either in different venues, with different ages. It just depends on what you're interested in doing, but there's a variety of things related to teaching that you can do with this degree. To prepare you to work with young children and families, particularly in the realm of teaching, but also in many other careers that might be interesting to you that you're going to be learning about in this course, the Department of Child Development at Cal State, we have created a series of courses to help prepare you for these kinds of things. So again, to help prepare you for teaching, to help prepare you for other careers and working with children and families. And in particular, we have created courses that give you hands-on experience. So we have tried to put together a thoughtful program of courses that starts you off with just observing, then gives you practice interacting, then gives you practice creating and implementing activities, and then finally your final senior advanced practicum experience. So on the next couple of slides, I want to show you the courses that we have created for you and also the order in which you're supposed to take these courses so that when you leave, you're fully prepared to work directly with children and families. So you're not just learning about children and families through reading and lectures and books, but you're also getting very important hands-on experience. So as I noted on the previous slide, to earn a degree in child development, whether that be early childhood development or child and adolescent development, you have to take courses that give you practical experience with young children. So if you're in the early childhood development concentration, you'll be doing practical experiences with younger children. If you're in the child and adolescent development concentration, you'll be doing practical experiences with older children. So again, the purpose of these courses is to help prepare you. Almost everybody who gets a degree in child development plans to work with real live people in some sort of venue, either with children or families in some way, shape, or form. And we want to make sure that you're ready. We want to make sure that you've had the kinds of hands-on experience that helps prepare you to be a good practitioner in whatever career you end up choosing. So I'm going to be showing you information on the next two slides that is related to this web link, but I always like to show you where you can find things on our website. So if you poke around on our website, you would find these, but again, the next two slides are going to be related to these observation lab and internship courses, so you can either access that information here in this recorded session, or you can go to this website link and you can also find the same information about these classes. In addition, this website link also tells you how the internship course works. I know that you're earlier in your career as a child development student, but eventually you will be taking that final internship or advanced practicum course, and we want to make sure that you're ready, that you have the information that you need to be able to enroll in that course. So the first place to start is by taking your Introduction to Child Development course. That is CD 2240. If you are a brand new student with this here this fall, so if you are a freshman, likely we have enrolled you in this course because this is a prerequisite for pretty much everything else. If you are coming from a community college, chances are you've already taken Introduction to Child Development, so you've probably got that one under your belt already. But that's where everybody starts, whether you're in early childhood development, which is ECD, or whether you are in CAD, which is child and adolescent development. Everybody starts with Introduction to Child Development, CD 2240. Next, or at the same time, so you could do CD 2240 first, or you could do it at the same time. Next would be your observation class. So the observation classes are either CD 2244, CD 2245, CD 2246, or CD 2247. And in these courses, you're going to be learning how to observe children, and you're going to go practice by doing observations and writing up the results of that observation information that you've collected. So if you are an early childhood development ECD major, you're either going to choose 2244, which is focusing on infants and toddlers, or you're going to choose 2245, which focuses on preschool and early school age children. If you are a CAD major, child and adolescent development, you are going to take 2246, which focuses on older school age children and young adolescents, or you are going to take 2247, which focuses on older adolescents. So make sure that you are selecting the right course when you are enrolling. After you've completed Introduction to Child Development and your observation course, so either 2244 through 2246, then the next up is to start taking courses related to the specific age period that you're interested in. So if you are an early childhood development concentration major, you're either going to choose to focus on infants and toddlers, or you're going to choose to focus on preschool and early school age children. And if you are in the child and adolescent development concentration, you're automatically going to be focusing on older school age children through adolescence. So let's start with early childhood development and an infant toddler focus. So you're going to need to get 2250, or the infant toddler development course, completed. Now, if you're early childhood development, you're going to be taking both infant toddler development, 2250, and preschool early school age development, 2260, but you don't have to take them both at the same time. You really want to focus first on the one that you need to start your series of focus courses. So again, if you're focusing on infants and toddlers, you really want to knock out 2250 as soon as you can after you take 2240 and 2244 or 2245, so that you can get started with the rest of the courses that you need in the series. So you start with the developmental course, CD 2250, then you're going to take an interactions and guidance course and a lab that goes along with it. So CD 2251 is the interactions course, CD 2281 is the lab for that class, and with lab you actually go and work directly with children. So if you are taking the infant toddler series courses, you will be doing your lab hours at the infant toddler lab school. If you are doing the preschool early school age focus, you will be doing your lab hours potentially at the infant toddler lab school, but more likely at the children's center on campus. And if you are doing the CAD program, where you're working with older school age through adolescent children, you will have a variety of community placements that will be presented to you by the instructor of those courses. So back to the infant toddler focus, you're going to do your interactions class and lab. Then next up, you'll be doing your curriculum course and lab. That's 2252 and 2282. And then finally, you are ready for your advanced practicum or your internship course, which is CD 5575. It's important and required to do these courses in the order that they're presented on this slide. So you have to do 2250 first, then you do the interactions classes, those are the ones that end in 1, then you do the curriculum classes, those are the ones that end in 2, and then finally you do your advanced practicum or your 5575 course. It's also important to pay attention to when these courses are offered. They are not all offered every semester, so you really need to be looking at the website, at the child development website, at the roadmaps, when courses are typically offered, some of those other tools that you were given in the departmental advising session of this course or the department information tools. We also offer advising sessions every semester to kind of help navigate these kinds of things, but make sure that you take them in the right order and when they're offered. So if you are interested in preschool, early school age focus, very important to get the developmental course related to those ages, 2260, knocked out pretty quickly after 2240 and 2244 or 2245. Then you're going to take the interactions course with the lab, 2261 and 2291. Then you will take the curriculum course and lab, 2262 and 2292, and then finally your advanced practicum. If you are a CAD major, if you are concentrating in child and adolescent development, first you need to get done 2270 and 2275. So in this case, you do need to do both of them. Unlike the early childhood development where you only had to do one right away and you could maybe save one for a little bit later, you need to get both done so that you are ready to take CD 4405 and 06. So CD 4405 is an interactions and curriculum lecture. Then you will also have CD 4406, which is an interactions lab, and then CD 4407, which is a curriculum lab. So again, make sure that you're doing those in the order that they're presented here, and then that will have you ready for your advanced practicum or internship, CD 5575, towards the end of your time here at CSUSB. So in addition to the recordings that I've made on each slide, the videos that were available on the first slide that give you a little snippet of what it's like to teach children of different ages, here's some information that you should also read. Remember, there are quizzes at the end of each session, so you want to make sure that you have watched all videos and read all information to assure that you're ready to take the quiz. But here's some information to read on teaching careers in general, sort of what they look like, how much they pay, pros and cons, and then some specific information about being a teacher in the state of California and what the certification and licensing guidelines are. These information sources are much more heavily focused on the K through 12 system rather than the infant, toddler, preschool system. To wrap up, thank you very much for listening. I hope that this information was useful. If you have any further questions about teaching, I am very happy to help. Please contact me at my email. I could give you my phone number, but honestly, most people don't call, so I'm not paying as much attention to that. So I think email is probably the easiest and most fruitful contact information to give you. But again, I'm very happy to answer any further questions, and please email me anytime.